Hey everyone, Marcos Villegas here alongside Abel Sanchez, and we're 1 week away from Gennady Golovkin's title defense that will be shown on HBO at the Forum April 23rd. Abel, give me a synopsis, so to say, of this training camp and really what's been the focus for a guy like Wade.
The focus has been to make sure that we do everything to the fullest and not get complacent. Everybody keeps saying how this guy's unknown. To us, he's known because he's another guy that's undefeated that we have to face and make sure to get past so that we can have the next big fights on the horizon.
Is that a problem though? Like the name of the opponent in terms of like motivation? It's not Canelo. It's not a title holder. Does it affect a fighter at all?
Some, let's just say it would. The motivation here comes from the IBF threatening to strip him if he doesn't do the mandatory like they did Tyson Fury. Since they stripped Tyson Fury, they're very insistent on making sure that everybody does abide by the rules. This is our mandatory and we have to do it or else we won't be IBF champion.
And I know unification is a really big goal for Gennady. It doesn't matter who the person is as long as he gets the belt, right?
A couple years ago, Gennady sat all of us down, the management team, Tom Loeffler, myself, his brother, and made sure that everybody understood that his goal was to be unified champion. Yeah. His goal was to have all four major belts, major sanctioning bodies. His goal was to be the next unified champion after Bernard Hopkins. We're close. The 7th will give us the 3rd belt or the possibility of winning a 3rd belt if Canelo decides to fight him. The only one left will be WBO and BJ Saunders, which hopefully will be before the end of the year. So once he does that, then all other avenues can be looked at and future opponents can be discussed. But until then, he's got this fight on the 23rd and then the decision by Canelo.
In terms of Wade, what do you guys really know about him and the type of fight you feel he's going to try to go ahead and press against Gennady?
We know very little about him because there's only a couple of pieces on YouTube, but that's the danger. Yeah. We really don't know how good he can be. Now that he's getting an opportunity for a title, is he going to be better? Is he training so hard that he's dead by the time fight time comes? You know, there's so many ways that it could go. All we can do here in this gym is to prepare Gennady to the best that Gennady can be and prepare for the #2 best middleweight in the world and Gennady being #1. And if it turns out to be that Wade is that good, well, then it'd be a great fight. If it turns out that he's not that good, we'll have a short night.
What do you think is more likely in terms of the next fight? Do you think Canelo, or do you think more or less it probably will be Saunders?
You know, I don't like to look past this one, but obviously we have to because that's the future. I would hope that it was Canelo because of everything that he has said, everything that he has done as far as saying that he fight Golovkin right now and bring the gloves on after the Cotto fight. Hopefully he won't be a diva and cower out. I can see Oscar not wanting the fight. I can see Oscar saying no and Canelo saying yes because he is a warrior. But at the same time, he has made mention of some different things that are not part of the WBC mandate that is in writing that everybody signed, which meaning that if the fight is at 160 pounds, there's certain percentages that are for the champion and for the challenger, doesn't matter what Oscar says, and there's certain dates that have to be met in order for this fight to come about. He's got 15 days after the 7th fight to decide whether he wants to fight Golovkin or not. If he decides not, then that's okay. If he decides to and he says he does, then they have 30 days to negotiate, and if nothing comes about then he goes to a purse bid according to the WBC rules. So either way, it doesn't matter to us. What matters is that Gennady has an opportunity to either fight for the WBC belt or that Canelo vacates it and we defend it against somebody else.
What's more important to Gennady? Fighting Canelo, regardless of a belt, or just fighting the belt holder?
The belt. Canelo means nothing.
But that's big business, though. That's a chance for Gennady to cross over, don't you think?
Canelo's another 8-round fight for Golovkin.
Really?
Absolutely. And Canelo knows it. And Oscar knows it. If I am wrong, they will prove it to me on the 7th. Or before the 15 days are up.
Yeah.
If I'm right, you'll see him running. You'll see him scurrying out of the way and vacating the title. And then Oscar naming him the linear champion because he's got the ring belt. Everybody knows who's the best middleweight in the world is. And if he does run from Golovkin after the 7th, then he'll be telling us without telling us.
What do you think is like the end goal for Gennady? I know that you mentioned that the goal is to capture all the titles. Say he captures all the titles, then what happens? Have you guys planned that out?
Then even before then, if there's a significant fight at 168 pounds because the other champions don't want to fight him, or the other champion, I should say, because if Canelo doesn't fight him, then he'll be the WBC champion. If BJ Saunders decides to wait a couple fights and there's a significant fight at 168 pounds, then Tom, I'm sure, will go after it. The Herman brothers will go after it also. If not, then he'll be unified champion hopefully before the end of the year. After that, then we'll go after some of the 68-pounders and see what's available. Tom's had conversations with Eddie Hearn about some of those guys over there. He's had conversations with Frank Warren about some of the guys over there. So there's a lot of options, there's a lot of opportunities. It's just a matter of those guys continue saying they want to fight Golovkin. The only question to that is maybe not next. Hopefully they'll step up to the plate. Hopefully they'll step up to the plate and be willing to negotiate for a fight, because I think boxing needs that, and boxing needs the best guys fighting the best.
For that Canelo fight, when do you think is like a sell-by date where it has to happen before fans are like, man, this is exactly like Mayweather Pacquiao, I don't want to see it anymore?
I would hope that they don't let it linger on like that one did for 5 years. I would hope that by May of 2017 that fight happens, no later than September of 2017. And I say those dates because that's Mexican holidays, and Gennady being such a Hispanic attraction, even though he's not Mexican or Latin, and Canelo obviously being a superstar in Mexico, I think that fight should happen sometime in that time frame. If it doesn't, then I think all us fans will just be disappointed, but also look at it like the Pacquiao. They'll be too old by then. You know?
In that scenario, Canelo has age on his side. With Gennady, he's, I believe, 33 right now, 34 right now. But with the style that he has, do you feel that even if as time goes by, he's still going to be really good, really sharp?
Well, believe it or not, Canelo's been a pro longer than Gennady has. So Canelo's got more miles on him than Gennady does. So if Gennady's fights continue being how they have been, then the miles won't be put on him as much.
Yeah, because he's knocking everybody out so quick.
Well, not only that, in the gym, we're not working like he's a 22-year-old. We're working like he's a 34-year-old. I don't spar him any more than 75 rounds per fight. So he's not getting the wear and tear in the gym, so he'll be a little fresher longer, I think. Canelo has been a pro since he was 15, I believe, or something like 16. He's 24 now, so that's 9 years. Golovkin's been a pro since since he was 26. He just turned 34, so it's about the same or a little bit less. Canelo has a heck of a lot more fights, more rounds in, because his fights have gone longer, more decisions. So who's going to wear first? I don't know, but we are taking care of that by trying not to abuse Golovkin in the gym.
No, I would hope that it doesn't get to that point where, like we saw with Manny and Floyd, where we knew that was a Manny that wasn't the same as 5 years ago. In terms of this fight, what do you think is going to be the way that Golovkin will, I don't want to say end the fight, but how do you really see it based on what you've worked on, what he's been showing really well in training so far?
Really, it all depends on Wade. It all depends on Wade, because if Wade comes out to fight, like he keeps saying that Golovkin is very normal, he's got no pluses to him. If he comes out to fight, then it's going to be a short night. Anybody that presses Golovkin is going to have a short night. If he decides to box a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 rounds till Golovkin figures him out, just like he did Monroe, just like he did Lemieux, just like he did Stevens. It takes him 1 or 2 rounds to figure guys out, and then 2 or 3 rounds after that to dispose of them. But if Wade comes out to fight, then we may have an exciting 3 minutes or exciting 6 minutes.
So any chance we're going to see him box again, though? Because I know a lot of people were surprised that he boxed that way, but a lot of people saying, hey, why not keep doing that and show that different aspect?
No, Gennady is like an onion. There's a lot of layers to him, and he hasn't shown all the layers. But this guy's not on the level that requires us to show another layer. This guy will see a Gennady like you saw against Stevens, because those layers need to be exposed when we have somebody in front of us that requires us to expose those layers. I think Dominic is a decent fighter, but I think he's too young. I think that he was kind of forced into this fight because Toronto Johnson got hurt. I hope that he comes in shape so he puts on a good showing, because the worst that can happen is he's gonna be able to say he fought Golovkin, just like people say that fought Mayweather. Canelo became a superstar after he fought Mayweather. So if he puts on a good showing, he may profit from it. He may become a better fighter.
And what did you make of the Pacquiao-Bradley fight and them saying that, oh, maybe Canelo Pacquiao?
Well, first of all, I didn't see the fight. I was there in Vegas, but I walked out after the Ramirez fight because I knew I was going to see a repeat of the first and second fights. I thought Manny was going to dispose of him like he did the first time, easily. But I think Manny's a little too small for Canelo. Canelo has shown that the only reason he's at 155 pounds is because there's a guy named Golovkin at 160. If Golovkin was a 68-pounder, all of a sudden Canelo would be the best 60-pounder in the world. But I think that Canelo, by gaining all that weight, makes it almost impossible for Manny to have a chance for a decent fight.
No, I agree. It's too big. Manny's too small and Canelo's too big. But Abel, can't wait. It's next Saturday, right? You guys look like you're all ready to go. April 23rd, Gennady Golovkin defending his middleweight title against Dominic Wade on HBO.